Hello, and thank you so much for being here today. I have something to share that we did recently in one of my group coaching calls. And I thought, you know what? That is something I'd like to just share out in the world because I don't think I talk about it very much, but it is pretty important if you want to stay motivated or driven, as people call it. So thank you so much for being here. And today is a quick day. I just wanted to talk about something that came up in one of our group calls lately, and it's this thing that falls in the middle when people say to me, I'm not motivated, or I need to get more motivated, or I don't feel like I'm driven, I don't have the drive, all of these things. I talk a lot about what would I call like the externals, right? Like having accountability, having community, having a schedule created, doing the FPA, right? The flip and plan ahead, all of the things that are external that we use to keep ourselves motivated. Because face it, I mean, we're not always motivated to move, but using those externals helps. And then there's the internals that we talk about, and that's more like the having something to look forward to. Like that's really an external, but it's an internal because when you really think about things that you want to have to look forward to, then it creates that plan for you or creates you wanting to make the plan. And then there's also like knowing your why, like what are the desires behind your goals? Like those kinds of things will help drive us forward, right? Help keep us motivated. But then there's this like in between place. And this is one of the places that I go to more than almost anything else. So I wanted to share this today, and I've bring it back together and just think about this as like the middle piece of motivation. And these are three practices that we're working on within the group, and I'd like to invite you to share with us. So the first practice, heard me talk about it before, but it bears mentioning, is some kind of meditation. Okay. And a lot of times when I say the word meditation, I can't even say the word meditation. When I say the word meditation, you can just see it in their eyes. They just zone out. And the reason there's a real reason for actually doing this. Well, there's a few reasons for actually doing this, but the first thing I'd like to say is you don't have to have a big practice. Okay. This can be literally a practice. I mean, meditation can be nothing more than breath work. Okay. It can be 5 minutes. It can be something so simple that the dogs are excited to hear about it. Sorry about that. There's a stuff going on outside, and my dogs decided to join in on it. So, welcome to my office. Stop. Thank you. Not you. So meditation, let's talk about that for just a second. I mean, it can be as quick as just a 5 minute break. But what it does is it stops us from spiraling, escalating, getting into our head and out of what we know we need to be doing. Because when we get in our heads, whatever that is, right? This isn't working. I don't see any difference. I got on the scale this morning and it's worse. Like when we get in our heads with all those things, it holds us back from what we want. So when we take just a few minutes to meditate, to bring ourselves back to center, then we see that the stuff that we're chattering about in our heads is usually kind of baloney, right? Like, I mean, supposedly we have, I don't know, I hear all different numbers, but something like 67,000 thoughts in a day. And out of those 67,000 thoughts, maybe three are original. I mean, we do a lot of looping in our brains. So this allows us to come back. And so I have a couple of things that I can suggest. One of them, I don't use these apps, but these are apps that people use that they like. One of them is called Headspace. Headspace, I'm sure it's a paid app, but they have tons and tons of meditations. Someone in my group said that they use Peloton, and that Peloton has meditation apps. There's Calm has meditation apps. I mean, I use an aura ring. I know there's meditations that are attached to that ring somewhere in my app. So like meditation is it's mainstream, okay? It's out there, it's everywhere. Use it. You can use YouTube. So my suggestion on YouTube is that if you're going to use YouTube, use a ad-free YouTube. Just pay for the ad-free so that you don't have things interrupting you in your meditation, and also don't allow it to make suggestions for you, right? Because if you allow it to, they will keep making suggestions for you, and the next thing you know, you'll be down like, a rabbit hole chasing meditation squirrels because of all the stuff that they suggest to us. What we're trying to do is trying to bring ourselves back to center, calm, back to center. Okay, so that's step one. 5 minutes. Okay, if you don't have 5 minutes, then do what I call box breathing. Okay, and box breathing can be done in a lot of different ways. A very, very simple way of doing it is simply like breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, or breathe into the count of 8. It doesn't really matter. Okay, some people say that different timing on your breath matters. Probably does to a small degree. But the reality is that all that really matters is that you do it. Okay, all that really matters is that you stop for a moment and do this. So consider that. Okay, then step two, first is meditation. Step two is, everybody's favorite, journaling. Okay, so here's what we're doing in the group now. The people who agreed to do this, that said, I can't journal, but I'll try it. So here's the agreement. The agreement is they can sit there with a journal open in front of them for 5 minutes, once a day. That's it. They don't even have to write. They just have their journal open. What's going to happen is they are going to start writing. And the reason that I find journaling to be so powerful is that it comes back to all those thoughts running around in our head. When we have all those thoughts running around in our head, I got on the scale and I gained weight. I ate like, quite frankly, crap yesterday. Or what are some of the other thoughts? I've been doing this for a long time and I don't see any difference. Like there's so many thoughts that just run through our head that they just happen, right? Thoughts really do just happen. So when you have a journal and you can just ask yourself a really simple question like, I'd like to, okay, here's we go. How about this? Something that worked today is, okay? And give yourself an even time. Something that didn't work today is, or something, this maybe you're doing it in the morning. Maybe this is about yesterday. It doesn't matter. Just use prompts, and prompts can be anything, okay? Like prompts can be anything. I can sit down with a prompt and I'll say, oh, I'm going to do a review from the last quarter, right? I start doing a review from the last quarter, and next thing I know, I'm writing about, I don't know, writing about unicorns or whatever. Okay, forgive me, I'm a little giddy today, but really, no, truly, like it just doesn't matter. All you're trying to do is get some of the stuff that is running around in your head onto paper, because two things happen. When you get it out of your head, you calm down. Okay, everything can calm down because now it's out of your head. It's like when you make a to-do list. You know this is true, right? If you write lists at all, you know that when your head's running around in circles, you sit down, you write a to-do list, and it's like you can take a deep breath. The same thing happens with journaling. You just simply sit down and write down the things that are running around in your head, the things that might be bothering you or the things that are exciting you. It doesn't matter. And then when you come back to it, you can the next day either poke holes in these things that were running around in your head. This isn't working, that isn't working. Or you can go, okay, if that's not working, then what's next? How do I make a difference? And the way this works with your fitness is that a calm mind is a motivated mind. It really is. Okay. A calm mind is a driven mind. So if you find that you're slipping on your motivation or your drive or things that are going on, when you can calm your mind down, then it becomes simply that much easier. Okay. Third thing, is finding a mentor. Okay. And I'm going to suggest doing this in a different sort of way. There's a quote out there that probably has a lot of validity, and it says something along the lines of, you are you are the total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay. So not that, you're just like the 5 people you spend the most time with, but those 5 people actually influence you. Okay. And I'm going to give you a counter example to what we're going to talk about right now. And this is it's science, okay? This, you can go back. This goes back to, I think it was the 80s when this study was done. But what they found, they were studying people who had basically who complained a lot, right? Who had that negative mindset and they complained a lot. They found that over time, people who complain a lot, actually their brain begins to shrink some, because the piece of their brain that actually comes up with options starts, well, it quits because the complaining becomes an outside source, right? Like, this is all on the outside of me, I can't do anything about it. But the most interesting thing to me about this study was that the people who were around the complainers started having the same reactions. Okay. So if you think about that, like, I know a couple and they've been together for a very long time, and he is a complainer. Like, I mean, I love them dearly as a couple, and I kind of avoid him as much as I can because, there's something always wrong. What I've noticed though was, after however many years they've been married, I think they've been together like 25 years now, she started doing the same thing. And so once again, we are like those people that we spend the most time with. So all of that to say that that kind of sad sad example I just gave you is the opposite of what I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is, let's say you don't have a lot of mentors in your life that, show you the positive sides or whatever it is. You just don't have those people. Those people are often, they could be a coach, they could be a pastor, they could be a good friend. Like, there's lots of people out there, right? But an easy way to find those people is to go out and listen to books from people who are really uplifting writers. Okay. And I'm not talking about fiction or historical writing or anything like that. This is like a positivity writing. It's new science writing. It could be spiritual writing. It's like all, it could be business. Like, there's a lot of within the business sector, there's a lot of people who write about, habits, uplifting, stuff like this. But what you're looking for are people you can follow on an Audible or a Scribe, however you say it, or even on a YouTube or TED Talks, any of these places where they're going to give you interesting thoughts, uplifting ideas, and things that stimulate your brain and stimulate your desire to be motivated, your desire to have drive. If you do this, like, if you never do this, okay, do this as a test. Do this as a test for just 5 days. And I'm not suggesting podcasts. As much as I love podcasts, the reason I don't normally suggest them is because you end up listening to a podcast, and if you don't have all of them queued up after that with that one person that is giving you, all the happiness, then who knows what's going to come up next. So you can use podcasts, but just make sure you queue them, and you queue them to be the people that are going to be positive and uplifting. But what happens is that when you listen to these things, and it doesn't have to be for long. I mean, this is simple stuff. Maybe you're driving to the grocery store. Maybe you're driving to work. If you've ever heard me talk about me in traffic is, I can be kind of, I can be kind of vicious in traffic. I become a Rottweiler in traffic. So when I'm driving, I listen to, uplifting, positive speakers, Audible, that kind of thing, to relax me and get me out of the Rottweiler stage. So, but those are the kinds of things, like, it can be super short. It doesn't have to be, this could be when you're taking a walk. I do this a lot of times with my coach. I listen to her when I'm doing my exercises because I can do my workout and focus on what I need to focus on. And still, she's in my background and she's chatting away and she always has fun ideas. So think about that. I mean, think about that middle space. It's kind of like the someone said recently, Kelly, when you told me those things, it sounded like the purgatory because I don't really want to do any of them. But think about that middle space, that middle ground, where if you just spend a short bit of time, just a short bit of time on each of these, 5 minutes, doesn't matter, they're going to shift your brain and your outlook so that staying motivated, being driven becomes a whole lot easier. It becomes who you are. So remember, meditation, journaling, and find a mentor in some sort of space that you can listen to that uplifts you. So I hope that helped. Let me know. I mean, I'm very interested. I know that sometimes when I say these things in my group, it's met with a little bit of skepticism, but everybody dives in and I love hearing about how well it's working for them afterwards. So let me know, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.